Hi, my name is Joshua Coates, and your overnight success story, and this is the Baby J Show. Now, today I have somebody who I am very happy to be sitting with because usually I'm the one producing his podcast. Usually I'm the guy behind the scenes to the Average J's podcast. And there are some videos on YouTube, but go on Spotify and look up the average. It's the Average J's podcast, correct?
Yeah, Average J's podcast.
Where do I even start with you?
It's been some years, that's for sure.
Let me start out by saying this. You recently have been the person to have what's the word? Reignited my my heart for being my true authentic self. If it wasn't for your and my conversation, I don't think, well, I think it would have happened, but it would have happened further along and I would have been in a worse place. But I'm grateful that you and I had our conversation in your podcast studio because you got it out of me that like I have been just for 2 years, I had been letting other people dictate who I am, how much money I'm worth, what I believe. And it was gross. It was disgusting. So like, I'm grateful for you in that regard. And then I'm also grateful for you for racing and for marathoning because if it wasn't for you, I wouldn't have started to run 10 minutes every day. And we both know that if the compound effect, if you do something every single day for a period of time, you're going to get good at it regardless. Mm-hmm. Whether it's reading or talking to the camera or running, I have gotten better at running. And I wanted to do that because you just did a marathon last weekend. Mm-hmm. Was it last weekend or was it 2 weekends?
It was last weekend. Yeah, a couple days ago.
Oh my God. It's like
yeah,
the world is just so fast. Mm-hmm. So if it wasn't for you, I definitely wouldn't be here where I am right now. So I very much greatly appreciate you. So that way people know who you are because this is the Baby J Show, not the Sips and Slide or anything like that. Can you can look at the camera, you can tell me, who are you and what do you do? And obviously tell them what we do together.
Yeah. I want to say something first though, before we even really dive into a conversation. I've been following you these last couple of years or whatever, but, these last couple of months, I feel like you've really just tried to be your most authentic self. Right. And I understand with doing that, you're going to start to get people that it rubs weirdly,
Yeah.
And there's one particular comment that I saw on your TikTok where this guy was like, man, who even watches these podcasts anyways? And I thought about that. And, man, I really want you to know from the bottom of my heart, regardless of if there's 5 people that watch this, 10 people, 100, 1,000, me being here and having this conversation with you means more for me than you may think or even begin to comprehend. And I think sometimes we get so caught up on, man, like we need to have X amount of followers to be able to have a platform or to be able to speak. And I think that's a very dangerous mindset. I have found that we tend to judge people based off of their status, based off of how much money they make, based off the car they drive, based off the, maybe the followers that they have. But I heard someone once say that someone might have all of that, but they don't have any real true influence. They just have a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
And so, man, I just want to let you know that I'm encouraged by the approach that you've taken all of this. And I really hope that you keep doing it. I hope that you keep interviewing people because I think when we lose that when we lose the ability to have open conversations like this, when we lose authentic talk, this world that we live in is going to become a very like dangerous, scary place when we don't feel that we can speak our piece, speak our truth, speak our experiences, share our testimony. And so to that person that commented that, yeah, maybe this podcast isn't for you, but man, it does a lot for me to be able to walk in and to have this friendship with you and so many other people that come on this show. So I hope that you don't get caught up in the numbers. And I hope that you keep doing this for the pure love of doing it, not so that you can look at people and say, haha, I told you so. Like truly, because it'll become mundane and it'll be fueled by the wrong purpose, I think. So I really appreciate all the kind words that you said. And I just wanted to say that because it's just been on my heart the last couple of days. But yeah, I host the Average Days podcast. It's an idea that was given to me from my brothers about 3 years ago, both of them kind of at the same time. And it has been one of the cooler experiences ever and humbling experiences, honestly, because I'm not really after interviewing people that society says has influence. You know what I mean? Because I think maybe it's maybe fake or not authentic. I don't really know exactly, but I'm just really interested in interviewing people that want to share their story, that don't typically get the mic and get the opportunity to do it. And it's called the Average Days podcast for a lot of different reasons. Some would say it's like a double entendre. It has multiple meanings behind it. And it's really predicated off of the person's heart posture that's listening to it. Because I know if I tell somebody that my podcast is called the Average Days podcast, there's maybe an initial thought like, man, why would I want to listen to a podcast about just average people, right? And then sure, whatever, my podcast isn't for you. That's awesome, honestly. That means we've literally met you at the door and you're not invited to the club, right? Like you're talking about it but if you have a heart posture of like curiosity, if you have a heart posture of like, man, what can I learn from this person that's in my community? Then yeah, come on in and listen to what these people, my guests and fellow people in our community have to share, because their stories are really impactful. So, yeah, I mean, there's multiple reasons. We can dive into it another time, but that's why my podcast at its base level is called the Average Days podcast, because you don't need to be rich and famous to feel like you, in order for you to share your testimony.
So let's talk about what I've observed from you, because I don't get to, just recently have we been able to build what I believe is our friendship in this whole thing, because like we were very much like I guess work oriented. Like I wanted to make sure that everything was like damn near perfect for you over these past 3-4 years, something like that. I don't know how long it's like. Has it been 3 years?
Yeah, it's been a while. I think the first episode we recorded was the beginning of 2014, or 2024.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's been a couple of years.
So the thing I wanted to capture this, because like obviously, like, you know me now, where I will say the things that I'm saying right now over the phone. I will. That's one of the things that I'm like trying to show people, and I'm willing to show them every day, every week, every month, every year, all the time, that I am the same person here that I am off camera, that I am anywhere else, right? So that being said, me telling him this is not because I want to blow smoke up his ass or anything. I'm like, want to tell him. So first thing is, I'm very proud of you for how much you have grown in leading the podcast. In the most recent podcast that we just did with you and your mom and your dad, like, it was amazing to see you lead that whole podcast, and you did such a great job, and you didn't do it the same way that you typically do it. And so that's how I knew that like you have grown so much over these past 3 years, because you didn't have to ask those questions. You didn't have to like lead it that way. And yet whether that was the Holy Spirit, whether that was your brain, whether that you had already been thinking about how you wanted to do it, it was so good. And I also called you and I wanted to see if, you know, you texted me, but I wanted to find out if your mom and dad had listened to it because, yes, I edited it and I wanted it to be a way, like I literally put you and your mom next to you, next to each other because she was saying how proud she was of you and like the way that your eyes and like your face, whenever it was just so beautiful. But I wanted to give you your flowers and say how amazing you have become as a host and as somebody, I guess hosting a podcast, but really leading these conversations. And I've seen you grow. I do get pissed the fuck off when you touch when you touch the mic though. I know. Oh, I
haven't touched it yet.
I know. He goes like this every time, and now all I can see is every time looking at that. And I told him I would make a montage of every time that he does that, and it's stupid. But like what I'm saying is the what is it called, the content and the quality of the podcast and what you're doing. You're literally building a community of within the community. Like I'm not even doing that. You're doing such a good job bringing people together that they're in the literal community doing things that are helping other people and you're bringing light to it. And so I think it's so great. And that's one of the reasons why I wanted to, like, I believed in you all the way back then. Yeah.
You know, I really appreciate you giving me those compliments. But man, I've had the most incredible mentors my whole entire life, really. And they've really shown true over the last 5 years or so. And so it is nice to be able to first listen to your own podcast. Like I've listened to my mom and dad's conversation like 2 or 3 times so far. And so I figure like, man, if I enjoy my podcast, like maybe other people do, because I'll go for a 6-mile run and listen to the whole thing. And I'm just smiling and laughing. And maybe it's just because like my mom is so powerful and her voice is so strong and my dad's all right, but I'm just kidding. But
no, he's funny as hell.
But no, I like, you know, there is so much strength behind everyone's story. And that's one thing that has really tapped my heart over the last couple of years. But I do understand that I can't have those conversations without a very strong team behind me. And so the day that I met you and having my parents that support me, and then having a community of friends, and whether they're in Colorado, whether they're on the East Coast, West Coast, you know, my time in the military, I met a lot of awesome people here in Arizona. Like I do feel like I have a very strong support system behind me. So it makes it really easy to just kind of, to just create, you know?
Yeah.
And that's all I really want to do. I just want people to get the chance to share their stories. And yeah, the last conversation I had with my mom and dad was, you know, I can say this because it's my parents, but it's been my favorite episode yet, you know, and I told them on the show, I don't think there'll be another episode that surpasses this. I mean, it's just natural. Like they're my parents, you know, that was super special for me. That whole weekend was really special, but just the whole podcast, I know that nature is, and really, I know that really
you
cool.
talked about it on your podcast, but like, can we just have a small conversation? I mean, it doesn't have to be small, but can we have a conversation about what all happened? Because it's a lot, and I don't know the right words to describe all the shit that you literally put yourself through.
Yeah.
So yeah, please.
Yeah. Man, so that whole weekend was really awesome for me. It was, you know, I lived in Colorado for a while, and I went home for Thanksgiving and had a conversation with my dad. just over some coffee, right? We're just having coffee in the kitchen. He's making breakfast. And I had asked him about his thoughts on his 3 boys. He's got 3 older boys, me and 2 older brothers. And we're all doing relatively good for where we're at right now in our life. Like, I have 1 older brother that has his second baby on the way. I've got another brother who's a director of like finance for a pretty big company in Texas. And then there's me, which like, I feel like I'm doing okay too. But I asked him this question that in the moment, it didn't seem like it was very puffed up. But looking back on it, man, like there was a lot of ego behind the question. And my dad goes, hey, I asked my dad, I go, when you look at your 3 boys, it's got to feel really good, right? You've got to be so proud of them because you came from nothing. My dad's from like the south side of Chicago, from the hood, like straight barrio. Like it was insane, like legit, probably
like,
equivalent to
legitimately. Like I'm laughing, but like that's
I mean, like
crazy.
probably equivalent to what people would say like Afghanistan. Like Chicago back in the day was awful. And he made it out. And I asked him like, man, Dad, you got to be so proud of your kids because we've got so much stuff, right? You know, we all own homes and we're all doing all right, right? And he looks at me and he goes, yeah, man, you know, you guys have a lot of cool stuff, you know, and it's not that there's anything wrong with having things, but he looks at me and he goes, man, sometimes I wonder, with all the resources that you guys have, what are you guys using? What are you guys using these resources for? Are you using it to fuel yourself and your ego, or are you using it to fuel the main source, which I believe is the kingdom of God? Like that's my faith, right? And that really hit my heart pretty hard. I was like, man, my dad's kind of got a point. Like I was just here to just have some breakfast and some coffee, but I didn't expect this to hit me like this. And I really reflected on it for a while. And he was right. Like a lot of what I was doing in the past was just to self-build. And I don't think that's wrong for the period of life, but I can feel that my heart was starting to turn to something different. And at the time I was reading this book called Look Again by Tim Tebow. And it talks about some of the awful atrocities that are going on all over the world, but more importantly, like in our own backyards, with sexual exploitation, with the abuse of young children, and just these awful, awful things. And there's a stat that really hit my heart. Tim describes it as if you were to add up all of the NFL teams, there's 32 teams, and you would add up all of their worth, it'd be close to, I mean, it's just billions and billions of dollars, right? If you were to add up how much money sexual exploitation brought in over the last year, it surpasses that. Like that's how evil this is, you know? And a lot of times we think that it's stuff that's going on overseas and it's not really going on here, right? It's easy for us to kind of deflect and say, well, America would never do that, right? But man, there's so much of it that's going on, even here. And so I did kind of battle with it. I was like, okay, well, like, man, well, what do I do then? Because do I get in the fight? Do I kind of become a bystander? Is there anything that I can do? Like,
how do I get in the fight if I wanted to?
Yeah, right. Like, man, I felt like, man, I don't have that kind of impact, right? I was even battling with my own idea of a podcast. Like, well, I don't have that. I don't have any followers. Like, I don't know like who I can touch. And then there was a day when I was in the gym and I got on the treadmill, and back-to-back headlines on Fox News was school bus driver sexually assaults children on bus. And I'm like,
jeez,
that's awful. And that obviously awful, right? Like,
and that's right around the
like
corner.
heart-wrenching. It's in Scottsdale. And then there's another story right after it, similar thing. And it's just like, it kind of blew my mind. Like, wow, okay, Lord, like you're showing me this. This is really, really going on in our backyard. What do I do? And so I reached out to the Tim Tebow Foundation, and they were like, hey, you know, obviously we want you to get involved, and we don't want you to think that your voice doesn't matter. Your voice does matter. So then I reached out to you, and we were able to create that Tim Tebow video. And it's just really beautiful because sometimes we think like no one's really ever listening or it doesn't really matter. And it was like kind of like a like a God wink moment. I went and got my hair cut.
I was really hoping that you were going to say the story.
After I had posted it. And, I had people reach out to me like, oh man, this is really awesome that you're doing this. Like, this is a real problem. Great, right? But those are like my friends. And I almost expect them to say that, right? Because they're supportive of me. But I'm getting my hair cut. And my barber, Paul, he's cutting me. And he goes, hey man, I saw that Tim Tebow video that you posted. And I go, oh, really? Dang. Like, it kind of blows my mind when people are like, hey, I watch your stuff. It's like, oh, okay, that's cool. Like, I wasn't really expecting that. And he's like, hey, I watched your Tim Tebow video and I just want to say thank you. And I was like, what do you mean? He goes, because of that, I was able to sit down with my baby boy and my baby girl that are like 12, 14 years old on social media, kind of going through this whole new environment of becoming, going through high school and then becoming a young adult. I was able to sit down and have this talk with them and just kind of briefly explain with them, hey, like you have to be careful with the people that you speak with. You have to be cognizant of the people that are around you. Like you have to protect your little sister. You have to protect your brother. Like this is why this is so important. And he like almost started to get teary eyed. He's like, bro, I just really am grateful for that because I don't know if I would have ever been able to have that conversation if you had never mentioned it, if you had never said anything. And it was almost like God's like, man, just let me just be like water. I will take care of everything else. And it was really cool in that moment. I was just like, man, okay, like sweet. One person heard, like mission accomplished, right? Like let's try to do the next thing or whatever it is. And I'm just really grateful for that and the whole experience. I was able to run the Mesa Marathon and raise a bit of money to send to them.
So how long is the marathon? How many miles is the marathon?
Yeah, so the Mesa Marathon starts in East Mesa. It ends downtown Mesa, and it's 26.2 miles. And the whole idea behind the race was I was going to run to try to benefit the Tim Tebow Foundation. And so my previous PR was 4 hours and 14 minutes that I ran back in Greece in November is my fastest time. And the idea is for every minute that I ran faster than 4:14, me and my dad would send a donation.
That's really sweet.
And so we were able to beat my previous time by 18 minutes. And so we were able to write them a check. And look, the dollar amount wasn't really the point. Like if you were to look at the post, it's blurred out for a reason. Yeah. Because I do know how like for me, right? Like it could be like, man, we want to raise this much money so that we feel good about it internally, but it's never really about the dollar amount.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, my dad and I were grateful enough to write them a check and send it to them. And I really hope to be able to team up with them again in the future. So the whole weekend was really awesome. I mean, just with my parents being there, doing Night to Shine, doing the marathon, and then interviewing my parents after, it was extremely special. So really grateful for it.
Let me ask you this way. What have in hosting or in having these conversations with these people, how have you changed? Because I can see like you're a different, like I don't know if I need to say it a different way, but like you've definitely grown. I just don't know how to like put words to it.
Yeah, I think maybe it's like anything else. When you start off doing something, it's going to be pretty difficult. It's going to feel like you don't belong. It's like that with anything. And it was pretty similar to that when I started running years ago. Like there's a part of your mind that makes you feel like you're being a fraud or that I don't know why I can't think of it off the top of my head, but like you don't belong, right?
Imposter syndrome or whatever?
Yeah, people have equated it to that, but yeah, it can be tough, but as you continue to do something and you become more comfortable in the environment, it makes it a little bit easier. So I kind of sometimes equate a lot of the things that I do with the podcast with running.
Mm-hmm.
Running was really uncomfortable for me at first, but after I've done it for a number of times over and over again, it becomes easier. And I think it's the same thing with starting the podcast. And that's why I really don't like taking any credit, honestly, for the podcast, because I was pretty bad the very first episode. And I still don't even think I'm really that good, if I'm being honest. But like my first episode, I was with my brother Joshua, but I'm very grateful to have someone like my brother that was willing to trial and error with me.
Mm-hmm.
Like I had given him this idea and he was just like, hey, I'm going to walk into the fire with you and we're just going to see how this goes. And I'm so grateful for that, because I was able to then reflect on that experience. And that's just like one of those hard things to do, but I really have tried to like make myself do that. Like every podcast that I record, I go back and make myself listen to it and like really try to learn from how I speak, the questions I'm asking. Am I being interruptive? Like I do look at this as a craft and something that I do want to be really good at, not for my sake, but because I have guests on that I care about, that I want them to feel.
So that's my question.
Feel heard.
So that's my question. What have you observed from yourself? Like, what have you learned?
Yeah, I think one thing that I've learned with being a host is to stop talking so much. Like,
well, that doesn't happen here. So
yeah, you know.
I'm an interrupter, but no, yours, the way that you do it, yours, like you're allowing somebody who has never been on camera, to, this is my interpretation of it. I think that, and I'm saying this because I'm literally interrupting you right now. But I see the people who and I need you to talk louder here and over there, because you're right. That's why I'm yelling. But I see, mind you, this is what you did. You brought real me out. So
yeah, be yourself. That's beautiful.
It's different when you bring somebody who has never been on camera. Swear to God.
Just moving it.
It's different when you've had somebody who's never been on camera, because if you interrupt them, like they don't know what to do. Like their train of thought is like, and I've seen it happen before. Not like from me doing this, and also on the other side. And so I just wanted to say that, like, I think you've done a really good job, because the Average Days podcast is bringing on people who are within the community who don't usually get the camera time. Mm-hmm. So you not interrupting them, like I'm literally interrupting you right now, it helps them to be able to tell their story. Mm-hmm. I'll stop interrupting. Go ahead.
No, I think you hit it. You hit it right on the mark. I felt like maybe in the earlier episodes, I needed to interject. I needed to get my piece out. But then that's not really what my podcast is about. Like a lot of people that listen, they aren't listening because they are curious to hear what I have to say. They probably could care less. Like I know that a lot of the people that are listening are because they are fans or followers of the guests that I have on. And I think one thing that I've tried to just do is just create a space where they feel comfortable to speak. And I just sit back and listen. And I've done that with a few episodes. I know we haven't released Kevin's episode, but a lot of that episode was me. Like, I don't think I said much at all. Like there might've been a period in there where he's talking for 30 minutes straight. And that's beautiful. That's exactly what I want. I want you to share your story. And
it was a crazy story.
I just want to be, because if I speak and I interrupt, I think I can lose, their train of thought, but I think there's something happening when they're sharing their testimony. It's so, so powerful. Like, who am I to jump in and to steal the moment that they're having? Like, that's what I want to offer every guest that comes on is a safe place to express themselves and their story. Like, imagine if you were reading a book of them and they're sharing their book, and then and then I jump in and I'm like, well, wait a minute. You know what I mean? Like it's like, no, like I'm just going to sit back and I like to use my podcast as if my guest is writing a book, and I'm just sitting back listening to it. And I'm so grateful to have literally the front row seat. Like it's extremely humbling. And man, it's been fun. I've learned so much from it. And
how do you want the audience to feel? Because this is something I was curious about. Like, do you want them to feel like a fly on the wall? Do you want them to like have questions for this person? Like,
yeah, a lot of my podcast is predicated off of the other person's testimony or small business or how they got started doing what they're doing. And so with that being said, there's not really too much I think I need to say. And I think maybe there's points where I can interject, and there'll be moments in the podcast where they'll stop speaking and they are anticipating the softball follow-up question, and I can feel it. And I try to do my best to ask them the question that they're setting up that they want to talk about, but I just need to ask the right question. Right. But yeah, the listener, when they listen to the podcast, again, they are essentially listening to a bit of an audiobook of my guest's life. That's probably the best way to look at it. If you are looking for a lot of back and forth, some episodes you might get it, some episodes you might not. But that's the way that I approach every episode, is if I am interviewing somebody and they are sharing their autobiography with me. And rather than them write everything down, they are just sharing it into the mic. And I'm literally just in the front row listening and letting them express whatever it is that would be in their book.
Something that happened to me that I told you a little bit about that irritated the shit out of me was that and it's not that big of a deal, but it's pushing me to make your podcast bigger than any other podcast. And I guess I don't have to, or I shouldn't say whatever it is. Just know that something pissed me off and it is motivating me. And this motivation is, I now want, I wanted this anyway. Like, and obviously everything takes time. But I want to help build your podcast to be a big, like a big influential podcast, not so that way, like how you said in the beginning, for me, like not for the numbers, not for the money, not for anything like that. All of that is, it's necessary to build a business, and this is a business. And so you need it to you need the money to utilize it to then build out what you need for said influence to grow.
But that's the thing, though. And this might be really idiotic and stupid of me, but I don't really look at my podcast as a business. I truly don't. If I, and maybe I'm saying this now and it's easy because I'm not making any money from it. But if I were to never make any money from it, my heart right now would be okay with that. Like, I receive so much from these episodes, kind of selfishly, that I don't feel like there's a dollar amount that would make me want to keep doing it more, if that makes sense. I don't know. I just don't view it too much as a business.
Well, let me tell you my side of it, and that's great, because I looked at it incorrectly for a long time. You just heard me talking to Marissa. I wanted to build all of this so I could make money off of the videos, right? Because I am in media and I need to build my business and I need to make money, blah, blah, blah. So I wanted to bring people on here and I wanted to charge them money so that way they could get the video and get the thing. And ultimately, yes, help them get notoriety and help them build their business and get leads and all the other blah, 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 whatever. But I was looking at it wrong and you're looking at it correctly. I should have been looking at it the way you were looking at it. What's the blinders? I had blinders on where it's like I had to make money. And to be fair, this is my only income. So I have to make money. Yeah. And so for the longest time, I was looking at it incorrectly. And you're not stupid. you just got to the same place that I should have been looking at it way quicker than I did. Because now I'm having people on, and these, like you said, these are the very important conversations that I get to have with people, and I'll have them regardless. I will gladly call you and talk to you about how proud I am of you and all of this other shit. But to be able to document this and then show positivity, show whatever the verb is for saying that I'm proud of somebody, whatever, you know what I mean? Like, there's so much hate in this world, and there's so many bad people in this world, and it's so difficult to like cut through all of these things, all the negativity. There's like so much there's like I don't know what the fraction is, but like there's only like 2%, it's exaggerating, 2% positivity to 98% negativity. And so like, how do you cut through that? And my whole thing is like, whether it's working with you or doing this myself, I want to be a good person, and I want to build trust, and I want to like talk to people. And I was looking at it wrong. I shouldn't have been thinking about it like making money from it. And so I'm not anymore. And I'm grateful that you're not thinking about it like that.
Well, I mean, here's the thing, Joshua, and maybe to anyone that's listening, it's not that making money is bad. Like, you have to live.
Yes.
But the thing for me, and this is why I say, like, I'm so blessed, right? Like, God has given me so many resources. I have been able to create things for myself over the last 10 or so years. And so this is like on the back burner, like, of things that, you know, I have X, Y, and Z that are able to make me money. And I'm very, very grateful for that. So when I go into this is just like something that is really something that I have a passion to do, right? Like, and I don't expect anything from it. Because again, as I mentioned, the conversations that I have with my guests, I even know that I am gaining so much wisdom from them, and I know that it's selfish. Like, I know that hearing their stories,
it's making you wiser.
It's yeah, exactly. It's making, like, man, like I have learned so much from my peers that it has really like changed a lot about me, honestly, because there's so much power behind it. Like, I don't know if I beat it over the head enough, but man, I think the world will be a very scary place when we feel like we can no longer have open conversations like this. And one of the greatest things that I was been able to experience, which was like one of the hardest things for me during the moment, was back when I was in college. I tried really, really hard to make it to Division I football. I really wanted to play at ASU, and I was in the military, and man, I went full force towards it, and then I tore my ACL, and it was the hardest moment for me. Like, it was extremely hard because I spent so much time and energy towards it. But then now, looking back on it 10 years later, I'm so grateful for that moment, because I don't look back at it and think to myself, dang, man, I wish I would have tried. Like, I know I did everything. And so with this podcast, it's kind of the same way. Like, you record these podcasts now, you keep doing it consistently, you'll see what happens with it. But then I promise 10 years from now, when you look back, at least you'll say, dang, at least I tried. Who cares whatever happened to it, you know? And I have found that so many people live with that regret in their older age, wishing that they would have done something when they were younger. And I've only heard that because I've spoken with people that have shared that with me. And I don't want to do that when I get older. I want to be able to look back on my life and say, yeah, man, I had a podcast, and sure, it only got a couple hundred views every single time, but dang, at least I tried. Because there will be people that come after me. Like, I have nieces and nephews on the way. I have little cousins on the way, or that are already here, that are, 18, 20, 21, that are trying to figure out this world. I just want to be like the best example that I possibly can be. And I want them to be able to chase after their dreams. Like, I want them to be able to look at their big cousin or their big uncle or whatever and be like, oh man, he tried. And because of that, like I know that I can at least go try, right? Like it's
Where does that come
it's bigger
from?
than just myself.
Because you do that with running, and you do that with boxing, and you do that with everything. Like, at least I tried. Where does that part come from? And it was before the interviews.
Yeah. No, I think a lot of it comes from just conversations that I had. I know my dad has raised me and has taught me to, he would always say, like, turn every card over. Like, play your hand and play and turn every card over, so that when you walk up and you leave from the table, like, at least you know, like, man, my full hand was shown. Like, there's nothing I could have done differently. And no, straight up, like,
That's really smart.
I've kind of just lived my life like that. And I don't really look back wishing I could have changed a lot of things. Like, I'm really grateful that I had people back then that were pushing me to at least try. Because like I said, I've had conversations with people that are older than me, that are extremely wise, that have been like, man, I wish I would have tried. I wish I would have started this business, or I wish I would have done this. And you hear it time and time and time again, and they never do. And in their old age, it seems like that's one of the things that they regret the most. And I don't want to get to that old age, Lord's willing, and be like, man, I wish I would have just started that stupid, I wish I would have just done that podcast, right? Like, and a lot of it's predicated off of what we think people will think about us. And man, I'm telling you what, if we are concerned about what other people think about us, like, you are going to be very disappointed because everybody is in their own little world. And, some people just want to see the world burn straight up, and they just want to throw negativity. And I don't want to do that. That's why I bring on, like, small business owners. Man, if you have 100 people and you just started a small business, like, dang, come sit down and talk to me about it. Like, how can I help? What are you doing? How can I, not even advice, but like, man, how can I support what
How
it
can
is
I
that
connect you? Like,
whatever.
You're really good at that too.
So,
like, connecting people because of who you've talked to.
But here's the biggest thing. I know that I'm talking a lot about I, and I don't know what kind of listeners you have that listen to this, or people that are listening to this that are interested in what I have to say. But man, at the end of the day, I do not want to take any credit for any of this. Like, I truly mean that with my whole heart. Back in 2020, I had a lot of really intense things happen to me. And that is when I truly began my walk with Christ. And all of these ideas that I'm telling you are just things that I've pretty much have, like my dad loves Jesus and gave his life to Christ. And so, like, him telling me to, like, live with no regrets and to try everything, like, those are just things that you'd find in the Bible, you know?
Well, yeah.
And so, man,
but I also think that, though, like you just said, like, finding the Bible. I was going to say this, and I was actually getting teared up whenever you were, when you were talking. I don't know if you noticed, but like, you're like, at least I tried. And like, I'll start here. Like, I'm trying so hard. And I'm not trying to say here. So you, like, made me, like, tear up because of it, because you're like, at least I tried. I'm like, I'm trying so hard because I know I know this is going to work. I've spent too much time, you know? And I was even telling Marissa that, like, I don't even know if I told you yet, but like, how, I might have told you that, like, the Scottsdale Chamber has a position, and I was just like, dude, that sounds so nice to have, like, predictable income. But then right after that, the Scottsdale mayor calls, and then I, and they want to continue working on stuff like that. So it's like, it's like having faith. It's like, it's all of those things that, like, yes, that you would typically hear in the Bible. My experience, though, is that, like, the people who were in the church, a lot of them were hypocrites.
Yeah, straight up.
And so, because they're human, I'm not saying, like, the church, or I'm not saying the I can't think of the word, but I'm not saying that all people are bad people. I'm just saying, like, the people that I witnessed were hypocrites, and that led me to this this belief that, like, I didn't want anything to do with those people. And I know now, like I believe I have a relationship with God and with Jesus, and I'm still growing that. Like, but but what my young self learned from them was that, like, you can have a relationship with God, but what I learned from them is, say everything godly, but don't do anything godly. And what I had a hard time with, and this is what, like, I want to have, like, I want to have a relationship with the Holy Spirit, with Jesus, with God, but I also know that in this human experience, I have to put forth action. And that's something that, like, I just didn't see when I was younger, and especially, like, with, like, the hypocrisy and stuff like that. And so, you saying that, it hit me. I usually don't get, like, teared up like this on the podcast, but, like, I know this will work. I just have to do it, every day and all that.
I think it will too. And I think with this whole experience, I think, so sometimes I don't even like saying I think, and the only thing I really try to do is just give you my own personal experiences, right? I do challenge you to really consider the heart behind what it is that you're trying to build. And this is why I say that, because for years I tried really hard to play Division I football. It was something that I really, really wanted to do. And I think during my high school years, I was really, truly passionate about it. Like, I think I really wanted to do it. But there was a point leading into my freshman year in college where a lot of people were starting to get in my ear and say, you'll never get to that level. You aren't tall enough. You aren't strong enough. You aren't fit, whatever, right? And so my heart changed to, man, I really want to do this because I have a passion for it, to, man, I really want to do this because I want to be able to go back to that head coach, look him in his eyes, and say, I told you so. Man, you said I couldn't do it, and here I am in the biggest stadium and under the brightest lights, doing what I love. But it was fueled by me wanting to go back to that coach and tell him, man, I told you so. And that was a heavy, heavy burden that I had to hold for a really long time. And it was the fuel that I think ultimately, it destroyed me, if I'm being honest. Like, that heart posture to chase something just so that I can look at somebody and say, I told you so, is a very selfish ambition. It is just about self. It is just about self-glorifying. It is just about puffing up your own heart, about ego building, right? And that was something that in my early 20s, I didn't even realize that I was doing. But then I had torn my ACL, and I was just remember being so angry. Like, man, like, why, God? Like, this was supposed to be my thing, right? Like, I've tried my whole life to get to this. And I had a conversation with my brother Isaac. And, man, I even remember where I was at. I was driving down Thomas, getting ready to go towards therapy. And on that phone call, he goes, man, bro, I just want to let you know that everything happens for a reason. And maybe this is a good thing. And I remember thinking, like, how is this a good thing? Like, this is an awful thing, dude. This is awful. Like, this was supposed to be my moment. I was so close, a couple games away. And he goes, well, this is what I want to suggest to you. I want you to truly think about why it is you wanted to do this football thing in the first place. And what's the heart behind it? And he knew just based off of prior conversations that a lot of it was just because I wanted to show other people wrong. And that's when he told me, he's like, look, man, you'll never find peace if what you're doing is predicated off of showing someone else or telling someone else I told you so. Because at the end of the day, that coach back in high school or whatever doesn't give a shit about me. Like,
Yeah.
you know what I mean? He doesn't lose any sleep over it, but I was. He doesn't miss a meal over it, but I was. You know, he's not up at night thinking, man, I hope Jonathan doesn't make it to the bit. They don't care. They have their own life. But in my head, it was fueling so much of what I wanted to do, which was prove them wrong, which at the end of the day didn't even really matter. And so when I finally was like released of that, like, man, you know what? You're right. Like, I don't want to do stuff just to try to prove people wrong. I want to do stuff because I truly love it. That's kind of like a little bit of the shift for me. And it's been great. That's why I said when I do the podcast, I don't even really look at the numbers, honestly. I just do them because I enjoy them. And that's just kind of the fuel behind all of it.
So that's interesting. Because when you were talking, I was thinking, okay, so then why did I even do this? Like, why? And I might have told you this 3 years ago, but I started, the first thing, I'll be completely honest with you. I know that I belong on this side of the camera. I want my own reality TV show. Now, in the beginning, it was very, what's the word? I'm getting a cramp. Also, side note, we'll talk about that in a second. Why do my shins hurt so much? Like right now, I ran this morning, 15 minutes, and this is such a tangent, but I'm going to ask you. So yeah, dude, right now I'm in so much pain right now. So like, why? I don't get it. Do you know, or is it? Because I'm running. It's the only thing that has changed other than I'm working out and I'm drinking at least a gallon of water a day now because of it is constantly in pain. Like like somebody's kicking me or like I'm getting hit by soccer balls like constantly right here and right here. And I've never had this before. I've also never run this much.
Maybe you just answer. You never ran this much, so I think.
Is that
like
what
pain?
I thought that there would be pain back here or something?
Yeah, I mean, I'm probably the worst person to ask because I like don't even really stretch before I run too, which is a bit ignorant.
Really?
But yeah, I don't know. I just go. But
good for you. No, well, if you don't know, you don't know.
I would say maybe if you have good running shoes and you're running on the treadmill. I almost just kind of want to say like those things happen. Like you're gonna get shin splints if you run.
They're called shin splints,
and hopefully over time they kind of subside.
Okay.
But that's probably also really awful advice. Like maybe take a couple of days off and recover and then go again. And your body's also probably like, what the heck are you doing mode? You know? And I know when I first started running, everything on my legs hurt. I was like, I didn't even know this muscle existed and it was hurting. But then, you take a couple of days off and then you go after it again and your body's more familiar with it. And so, maybe it can.
Okay. I was just curious because oh my God, it hurts. So,
take a day. I mean, it could be also maybe like your running form too, or like, again, your body's just probably getting used to everything. I mean, you just started running, right? Like, so, I mean,
to try and race with you.
If you think you're going to start running and just have like no complications, that maybe unrealistic. Like your body is going to be like, what are you doing? I'm not used to this.
I knew something was going to happen, but I didn't know what was going to happen.
Yeah. I wouldn't freak out. Take some time, take some days. You know your body better than I do. And when you feel proper again, go try it again.
Okay. Because I didn't know if there was like a specific thing that like I was doing wrong. Yeah. But
if I could give you a magic pill and say, hey, take this, your shin splints will go away, I'd be the richest person in the world. Yeah. Like, so it's just one of those things that kind of happen.
Okay.
Just gauge it, ice it if you need to. But if anything, it's common. So I don't want you to think like, this is
camera. We're saying this on camera and it's live and it's being recorded. I do want to do a race with you. I know that you want to take a break or whatever. But
I don't. I've started running again already this week.
I saw that. I didn't know it's just. I thought it was just because like it was a habit, so you just picked it up. But
it is a habit. Yeah. One thing that I've done in the past that I don't really like is I'll prepare for these races and then I'll just go off the deep end after. Fast food, eating like crap, drinking a lot. And I I've made so much healthy progress. Honestly, I felt uncomfortable the Monday after the race because that's usually when I would go out and run. And I was like, man, I'm not really that beat up. I'm just sitting here watching TV. This feels weird. Like I didn't know what to do, honestly. But I did, I listened to my body. I took the day off. But then that next day I was like, well, I feel good. It's a blessing to move your body.
It also felt weird to me whenever I went to your house because I'm like, I'm not working and I work all the time. I'm like doing something.
Yeah.
And so I understand from that perspective.
Yeah.
Obviously not the running part yet, but all right, but let's go back to what you said that hit me is that your I know that I want to be on this side of the camera, but I did not start financially well off to the point where I could have people just follow me around. So I wanted to figure out how I could learn from the other side in order to then know, like, 'cause I didn't want to just hand it off to somebody. I didn't have the luxury of doing that. So I wanted to figure out, and I figured out how to do all of that stuff. Then but then I felt stuck because I'm like, okay, now I have to make this into something because this is my well-being. This is my financial income, whatever. So now I fast forwarded a lot, but like I wanted to figure out how that stuff worked. So then in Indiana, I started doing social media content. They purchased a camera for me. Everything was going well. But what kept happening is that people were coming to me because they felt comfortable with me. And the more and more I did it, the more I found that women were more comfortable with me than other men or people in general. So that way, just because I wasn't going to try and sexually assault them. And do all the things that apparently other guys were doing. And that never crossed my mind because that's just who I am. But apparently that is what happens. And so I really took that to heart that like, okay, let me get into shooting boudoir. Let me get into shooting weddings. Let me get into these things that like are primarily women oriented. So that way I could not only be really good at my craft, but I could also protect women and not protect women. Like, I hope you understand what I'm saying. Like if
you don't have to convince me. You have to convince the women that are watching this.
Yeah.
I think they know what you're saying though.
Yeah.
I think that's beautiful, honestly.
And so I think like whenever you were saying that, I think I got like in the mix of the world and needing to make money and needing to like, and all the things that like happen. I don't know if the word is convoluted, but I think I got mixed up mentally in like where I needed to be. And I feel like I lost that. But in realizing, like in thinking about what you just asked, which is it's so interesting that like I'm in my head, I'm like putting like the dots together because like I'm working with a lot of women. Like you are my only male person that I'm working with right now. The rest of them are women, and the mayor is a female of Scottsdale is a female. A lot of the event event hosts, a lot of the speakers that I'm working with are female. A lot of the businesses are female. George and Gather, female. Like just a lot of these. And one of the reasons why is because like I get to speak with them and talk with them. Oh my God, it's so loud. I get to speak with them and like it makes I don't know. I didn't think about it until now where you're asking me because like I want to. It's not like I want to protect their business, but it's like I want to take care of their business. I want to make sure that the right messaging is going out. I want to make sure that like that I'm doing good for them and I'm. Does that make sense? Like,
yeah.
Okay.
I think you want to, like, make women feel safe in an environment right now where women don't feel safe. Like, I think you have
yes.
I think that's okay. I'm sure there are plenty of women that are terrified with working with men because they get sexualized because of it. And so then you come around and you're like, hey, I'm more interested in the art, and I'm going to respect you and your craft. And that's the end of it, right? Like you have a wonderful relationship with your girlfriend. Like you have clients that can vouch for you that are women. And I don't even know the space, but I would just venture to say that this space is probably lacking men that don't make women feel uncomfortable on camera. Like, you know, and I don't know, I'm speaking for women, and
even on like when the camera's off, it's like there are videos on social media of like the jokes of this, but like it's just so bad. Like I thought this was over with. I thought it was over with, where there's like photographers that come in and like they literally lock the door on models. A lot of I don't know if this still happens. I haven't done hotel shoots in a while, because you do that, like you whether you're in a different place and you don't have like your own studio, but you can go to a hotel and then like rent the space and that. And I've heard horror stories of men who lock the door and SA a woman. I should say sexually assault. I already said the word. So sexually assault the woman. And then it gives a bad taste and a bad feeling and a bad everything for photographers. It ruins what's it called? The reputation. The reputation. Like it ruins it for that person, that female, and also what a good photographer or a good person who does photography could or would do for that person. And that's for weddings, that's for boudoir, that's for portraits, that's for real estate, that's for all of these different, like, I don't know why, but they think that like whenever they purchase a camera and it's in their hand, they think they are all that in a bag of whatever the hell the saying is. And that's like so minuscule. And so like, yes, it is my livelihood, but my livelihood, my financial income, whatever the word is. But until now, it just clicked that like, I want to protect, and maybe that's why I want to work with women more, is because like you are like, you, if you needed to, you could protect yourself. And there are women, I'm not saying there aren't women that can protect themselves. But like I don't know what the statistic is or whatever, but like where women, it's easier for women to like, get hurt by a bigger man, if that event happens. So I just, it's just interesting.
No, I think that's a pure and authentic heart. And again, I don't want to speak for any of the women that are listening to this, but I'm sure there are a lot of women that feel uncomfortable with male photographers for that exact reason, right?
Yeah.
And that's really unfortunate because it takes it away from the art and the beauty that they want to be able to express. But then they feel like, man, I can't even reach out to someone to help me with this because they make me feel uncomfortable or whatever.
For fear of whatever.
For fear of whatever. Yeah. And so, I've talked about this briefly with Dylan too, someone that works with you, and he shared this with me. So yeah, I mean, be that light, bro. Like if that's your angle, then
that's so interesting.
Then do that and pursue that and be the outlier. Like be the reason why women want to work with you. And honestly, you've already been doing that. Like I sit here and we create videos together, and people that work with you will call you that are women and that they love you. Like it speaks for itself, right? Like you have the reputation already. Just keep doing that and people will find you. And again, it has to do with your heart, man. As long as your heart is in it for the right reason, like maybe then that's your angle. Like, and
I just never thought of it. I don't know why I didn't think of it like that. And I think it's because I'm too in it.
Yeah. And like, I don't know anything about it, but I'm sure, I mean, it's just the climate of the environment that there are women that want to reach out to videographers, but then just probably just don't feel comfortable because they may have had a bad experience, or just like anybody else would have a bad experience with someone. It could change their view on that particular industry or whatever it is. So, yeah.
So I thank you so much. Kenna is, I'll just so everybody here knows. And Kenna, you're on the podcast. I'm shouting you out on the podcast. She just sent me a galaxy right now on TikTok. And Kenna, I did want to say this because this happened because of you, actually. So everything that's happening right here on this TikTok thing is it's because of you. I was afraid to go on Instagram because I know I have you, I have Danae, I have everybody on Instagram, and not to say that you're going to judge me, or she's going to judge me, or my parents or my sister are going to judge me. But I had to figure out a way to practice being on camera because I didn't have this much experience as much as you. And so what I did was I started a separate TikTok account, and I have Joshua's rants. I have that separate. And all I did was I know we talked about it, but like I'm saying this because they're live right now. And if it wasn't for that, I wouldn't have the diehard fans that I have right now. Like the literal ride or dies. And that's something like this. I was just talking to somebody else about like how, hold on, what time is it? It is 2:05. Do you have to go?
No.
I just want to respect your time.
No, yeah, I'm good.
Okay. We can go for like 10, 15 more minutes. I don't, I know you still have shit to do. So like,
I hope I'm doing a good job. I don't know.
yes. No, also with I think you know this one.
I was gonna say it's interesting not interviewing. It's interesting being the interviewee.
Something that I think you know this, but like just to say this out loud is like I want the raw and uncut and real, because there's so much fake shit. So like me like this, I just want. I don't like throwing the authenticity word around, but I like this. So anyway, I was talking to somebody, and they have this really big community, and you're building this community, and I'm over here like I know it's important to build a community, but I don't know how to do this for myself. Like I know how to do it for you, and I know how to do it for this person and that person, but like I just don't know how to do it for myself, and so. Because of you pushing me to be my most authentic self and trying to figure out how to do that, I started this other TikTok, and I started just ranting and yelling and just so. And if it wasn't for that, then I wouldn't have met Kenna and Carson, I believe her brother or cousin. I can't remember. Sorry for forgetting. And like I have like literally 195 people who like love me. And like actually like will go to war for me. I don't know how to say it. So if it wasn't for you saying that, like I wouldn't have had these people. Like I'm building the community that I knew that I wanted to build. I just didn't know how to do it. And it's amazing to see that you have hundreds of thousands of different ways that you can do anything. Anyway, last little bit. Where what do you want? I know that we talked about it, but like what do you want from it's like switching back and forth. It's crazy, right?
Yeah, I think it's cool.
What do you I know it's not you, okay? And I know that you want to help people. And I know you want to like what's the phrase that you say, like someone's testimony is something?
Man, I say a lot when it comes to it. I think that our testimonies are the answer to someone else's prayer.
It's so beautiful, and so true. So what do you want from your podcast? Yeah.
What do I want from it?
I know that we said like money, it's not this and that, but like what's the vision?
Yeah.
Now.
So I have always been fascinated. Maybe I got this idea from Cameron Haynes' podcast, but he offers a bit of an experience with his podcast. I'm not there yet, but that is something that I do visualize me and you and other sponsors being able to do. And it goes back to what my dad told me back in November. Like I'm so blessed with so many resources. Like for me to say that I'm doing this podcast because I don't want to make any money, even like I'm so grateful for that, right? Like if anything, I want to make money so that I could pay you so that you don't have to do, you know what I mean? So like honestly, and my cup is abundantly full, and God has been so gracious to me, and I'm very, very grateful for that. But I am just like continuing to switch the needle a little bit more, and I know that I want to offer an experience with my podcast, and I've met really incredible people to where I know that I will be able to do that. And so, a goal of mine, and TJ and I are working on this right now with you, but I want to be able to invite a guest over to my home. This is what I see the future of AJP being. I want to be able to reach out to a small business owner or to anyone that wants to come on the show and share their testimony. I would love for them to show up and to have TJ outside with like some horses or something, and me and the guests get trained by TJ, ride the horse around South Mountain, kind of like break up the anticipation that I'm sure that the guest is feeling, right? Because it's very daunting. Standing in front of cameras and lights when you're not used to it is intimidating. But if I can offer them an experience that comes along with it to make them feel more comfortable, and honestly to trust me, to want to come on and to share and be like, all right, this guy actually knows what he's doing and I believe in what he's doing. That's what I want to do. So I see a world where before we podcast, my guest and I get instructed by TJ, ride horses around South Mountain. There's a gun range that's really close to where I live. TJ walking us through some different weapons, my guests being able to fire, shoot some weapons. And on that time, we're kind of just breaking the ice. They're getting more comfortable with me. I'm getting more comfortable with them. But they can also leave with a memory, right? Not just the podcast, but just like, man, that was a cool experience. Like I got to be outdoors and I got to ride a horse and like I got to fire weapons. Like those are things that I think are cool, and I think my guests would think are cool. And then we can go home and we can shoot an hour-long podcast. And there's levels to it. There are guests that I've had come on that share very invasive conversations, and I try to cater to them very, very delicately because I know the power behind their testimony, and I know how it could be easily weaponized against them. That's how evil the enemy is, right? He's here to steal, kill, and destroy. And so I want to make sure that they feel so properly heard and so loved while sharing their testimony. And I want them to understand that their testimony is powerful. And I don't just bring anybody on the podcast. Like if you are in the middle of your storm, I'm not like your therapist.
Yeah.
Like I don't know how I can help you in the midst of your storm besides just giving you like biblical advice. Like that's probably like the only thing I could really give you, you know? But if you have been able to go through the storm and you have been able to stand on the other side fervently and have been able to conquer whatever adversity is that you've gone through, then man, yeah, I do believe that it is our responsibility to share our story. I think that's what's so impactful. And I know that's not easy. I know that that's a great deal of responsibility on me, but that's why I don't really take the podcast lightly, honestly.
I know you don't.
I try to do my very, very best every single episode, and that's why I don't even really like to speak so much. I just want them to share however they feel led to share, and I try to absorb it and be a sponge and think to like, how can I learn from what it is that they've experienced so that I can better myself and the things that I'm going through. And man, I've learned so much. There's like every episode I could tell you something very impactful that almost every guest has ever said. Like I think about them often, like Wadon, TJ, Coach Boom, Brooke, my brother Joshua, Jess, like every single one of them, there's a pinpoint moment in those episodes where it just hits me like a harpoon. And I step back and I'm like, dang, I needed to hear that. And if I need to hear it, then maybe someone else needs to hear it. And that's why I like doing what I do. That's why I really love the podcast. I think it's
that was beautifully
really
said.
impactful.
That was literally beautifully said. Like, and just to reiterate, you've gotten so good at this. Like, even being on that side, like you got really good at this. And so I'm proud. I am proud. You can say whatever you want about me, but I am proud to have been with you for this long. This is it's very meaningful for me because like to grow with somebody and to be like the friend, the business partner, the whatever you want to call it, like all of those things combined, to grow with somebody. And like, I'm watching you mature. I'm assuming you're watching me mature, and like both of us doing this together. And then obviously, again, bringing this back to the beginning, the compound effect of just doing something over and over and over again, you're going to get good at it, and it is going to work. And you don't know how it's going to work, but you know it's going to work.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, I think I just want to be living proof that even, I mean, this is so corny, but that even the average Jay can make a footprint, right? Like I'm nobody, dude. To be honest with you, I'm a kid from Chicago. Like I played junior college football and I worked in a warehouse for a little bit of my time when I was in the military. Like I didn't come from money. I didn't do any of that. But I didn't need to come from any of that to be able to feel like I needed all of the things to be able to share my story. No, I think where I came from was enough, whether it was from the hood or like, you know, Franco has shared his story where he came from like sleeping in U-Hauls and things like that. Like you don't have to come from these high up places to then share your story. Like I couldn't relate to any of them. But man, when I sit and I have conversations like with Franco, and he's like, yeah, man, I overcame all of this. And then sometimes I look at my own life and I'm like, what am I complaining about? And Franco's over here, created his own business. He is married with children, like leading and paving the path for someone like me that's trying to figure it all out. And Franco's not rich and famous. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Dayton isn't rich and famous. He started his own beverage company, but he's impactful.
Which by the way, which is a perfect Who Knew Soda.
Yeah. So, I mean, there's just every single guest, man. And I know I've probably beat that to a drum, but man, you are significant. Every single one of us, fearfully and wonderfully made and created in the image of God. Every single one of us. And I think society has really used what we have, has really used our riches and stuff to determine who is significant and who isn't. But in the eyes of God, we are all created fearfully and wonderfully made in his image, all of us. And so if that's the case, then I can interview anybody because you're important. So that's the idea, and we're going to keep sticking with it. And I love it. It's extremely humbling.
And you're doing a great job. Once again, tell everybody where they can find you.
Yeah, so I have a podcast. It's called The Average J's Podcast, where I interview people just like you and I, and they come on and they share their small business. They share their testimony. They really just express their heart in any way they feel they need to. And I just sit back and listen and give them the chance to do so. in an attempt to get their testimony out, and in an attempt to try to encourage other people that are maybe in a similar situation as the guest that is sharing. Because a lot of what we go through is ubiquitous. So that's what you'll find when you come to the Average Days podcast. If you are looking to critique or to self-edify yourself, then we will respectfully stop you at the door. But if you have the heart posture of wanting to come on and just listen to what the quote unquote average J has to say and is just curious, then I think it's the place for you, because we're all doing phenomenal things, and we all have very impactful testimonies, and that's what they do. They come on and share it, and I'm really grateful for it. So you find it on Spotify. My Instagram is just my first and last name. And then I'll probably be creating another Instagram here soon that just has clips from the podcast. But yeah, we've got a lot of guests coming, so.
And I'm not going anywhere.
We're doing it.
I'm very determined to make this work in every way possible. And it's your job to just show up and do what you do best. And that's cool with me. Just host and listen and give the advice that you have been given from other people, and whatever's in your heart and in your soul, because you've been able to gather all of that, and it shows. So, all right. My name is Joshua Coates, your overnight success story. This has been Jonathan Fizer with the Average Days podcast. You can find him on Spotify, like he said. And we are out. Love you. Bye.